Welcome back to our study through the study guide of Strange New World. So, today we're in chapter 2. We're going to be covering questions 1 through 13. And it has us start off by studying Psalm 26 and Romans 8, 12 to 17. So, I'll just briefly summarize Psalm 26. It's all about about your integrity, your inner integrity, and living with the Lord. And that parallels very easily with Romans 8, 12 through 17, which I'll read in its entirety. So then, brothers, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live according to the flesh. For if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live. For all who are led by the Spirit of God are sons of God. For you did not receive the spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption as sons, by whom we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit Himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God, and if children, then heirs, heirs of God and fellow heirs with Christ, provided we suffer with Him, in order that we may also be glorified with Him. So, question 11 now is, how might we as Christians cultivate intuitions that are moral? So, one, by having integrity and in walking after God. That's all what Psalm 26 is about. Have integrity, walk after God. Be that authentic self. That's the true authentic self, is the one who um, does what the Creator designed you to do. By putting to death the deeds of the flesh and crying out in the Spirit to God as our Father. Again, it sounds simple, and that's where the rub is a lot of times with our walk of Christianity. Is it's simple, it's not easy, and then we get those confused all the time. Business, all does it. Making cold calls is extremely simple. It doesn't mean it's easy. But we need to understand God gave us a law, which is a reflection of His character. He didn't just arbitrarily create 10 rules and say, hey, live by these things and everything will be all good. No, these are actual reflections of His character. And so when we live in integrity, life just kind of works out better for us. We have a simpler life, not an easy life, because what does it say? We will suffer. Suffering is part of this, because as we put to death ourselves, our flesh, that is, in one sense, suffering. But that's also us becoming more glorified and becoming like Christ. So it's a good suffering. Question 12. To what extent is it appropriate to be open about our inner feelings? So you have to be open. So you have to be open. At least be open to yourself. If you're married, you have to be open to your wife. If you have good brothers that you can trust, who will not abandon you in times of trial, then yeah, be open with them. But you have to be open. It's a requirement, because if not, you're just going to lie to yourself and you're going to lie to everyone around you. Yes, you must expose your inner thoughts to the light of Christ. You need to have them conformed to Christ likeness. And again, open your scriptures, open up the catechism, talk with your, if you're a man, talk with your brothers. If you're a woman, talk with your sisters about this. Is, I'm having struggles in these areas. What can I do? They're going to, some of them are going to give you the hard spiritual truths about, well, you're committing idolatry in this situation. You're doing this. They're going to give you that. Others are going to give you some of the practical stuff. Like if you're struggling with porn, they're going to get your cell phone out of your bedroom. Very simple thing. Very simple thing. Get your cell phone, get your computer out of the bedroom. Simple, practical type of things. And you're going to get that from both sides of brothers. And that's what you need, both sides. Not one over against the other. Understand, yes, you need a theology, you need that, but sometimes the practicality is what you need in your conversations with your brothers. They smack you over the head and say, stop being an idiot. But yes, be open and expose your thoughts and your inner feelings to the light of Christ, not just to the light in general, but to the light of Christ. So, question 13: how does the modern notion of authenticity differ from the biblical notion of what it means to be blessed? So, authenticity says, be you regardless of the consequences. Blessed says, God loves you in spite of yourself. Blessed is the man who walks and delights in the law of God, which is starts in Psalm 1. That's the difference. Authenticity, a lot of times in our modern context of authenticity, is that I just have to be me. Why is society so down on me and what I want to do? And the blessed person, the blessed man, is the one who is actually, again, is authentic. They're the actual authentic person because they go, I was created for a purpose, and I'm going to live in that purpose. And that's the most authentic thing you can do, is to bow down and worship God. And he gives you directions on how to do it. Read Proverbs, read Psalms, obviously read all the Bible, but read some of the more practical things that a lot of, in my tradition, Reformed people, like to go the heady stuff. Read the practical stuff that God's laid down. Read it. It would change everything about your life. It would change how you speak. You'll no longer be looking for the exception to the rule of going, well, I'm just talking like Elijah and Isaiah and this person and this person. It's like, no, it was like, read the books that God actually says, this is how I want you to communicate with your fellow man. Read those books. He provided multiple of them in the Bible: Proverbs, Psalms, even Job, Book of James, reinforced in multiple parts of the epistles of you as the Christian man. This is how you communicate with other believers, with people who you are in covenant with, because God has said, these are my sons. So live in harmony with them.